Good afternoon. Welcome back to Cloudbase. And another week of news that's a week late because this was last week's news this week. That makes sense. Anyway, let's crack on and get into it, see what's happening. I think I'm actually becoming a local. Look, I'm wearing a t-shirt. It's only 7 degrees. And I'm wearing a t-shirt and jeans, and that's it. And I feel very comfortable indeed because I always love the cold weather. Yeah, where was I? The news, that's it. Today's episode of, wait, they still make cars? I talk about Mahindra. Yes, Mahindra. Indian car maker, best known for the rugged, albeit extremely ugly utes, and budget, albeit ugly SUVs. Name badges that sound like printing errors is finally going plug-in, believe it or not. 2 new electric SUVs are headed to Australia because basically Mahindra has confirmed the BE6E in the XEV9E are coming to Australia. So they're based coupe-style electric SUVs because apparently that's originally in 2025 these days. So it's built on the Mahindra's new InGlow platform, developed with Volkswagen, believe it or not. So it's a Volkswagen ID4, ID5 sort of platform, think of that, and that's what you're going to get, essentially. So the B6E is going to be the 5-seater, the coupe roofline, the SUV coupe roofline, 533 k's of range, not bad. Slightly shorter than a RAV4, longer than a 6 for 3. So basically, Goldilocks of SUVs. It's Goldilocks like slate roofed and SUV sports car coupes. The XEV9E, remember the printing error? Yeah, bigger, still has 5 seats because who needs practicality when you've got sloping roof, right? 550 k's of range with a bigger battery, so 17 k's more with the BE6E, or the you can just turn the heat off and get the same range. So I don't know why you'd go with the bigger one, but yeah, that's it. So Mahindra's head of international operations says the EVs are the brand's next priority. Translation is, we've seen the NVES fines and we'd rather not pay them. So that's their strategy. No hybrids planned, which is good. They're skipping the gateway drug and they're going straight to the full EV. So got to give them some respect for that. That's pretty decent. Dam's filling up. That's nice. And sticking with Mahindra, what else have they got in their plans? Well, they're working on an electric ute and a Suzuki Jimny-sized off-roader based on the Thar. That's it, the Thar. Not Thor, the Thar. There, got it? Thar. But don't expect the Indian spec Thar. Aussies will get the different version, as they always do, because, Australian conditions are different, apparently, according to many manufacturers. I don't know why they do that, but they just do. So there you have it on Mahindra, going electric, skipping the hybrids, straight to all-in battery electric vehicles, which is good. But the question remains, will Aussies buy a Mahindra EV? That's a real question to be asked. But hey, if it's cheap, has 500 k's of range, and doesn't fall apart on the first speed hump, which I'm sure they won't. I mean, I've seen them around local rural area here, and they actually seem to be doing quite well. Seem to be pretty rugged, which is a good thing. But if they bring out the Jimny-styled EV, they might have a hot seller in their hands there if they actually get it to market and get it here quite quickly, please. So while Mahindra is busy skipping the plug-in hybrids and going straight to the batteries like a bad Tinder date, Mitsubishi's taken a different approach. Blaming the grid, blaming the government, and blaming possibly the weather. So, Mitsubishi's going for the "it's not me, it's you" argument, which is disappointing. Because Mitsubishi were famous for the Mitsubishi Outlander, which we had, fantastic SUV, very reliable, 40 k's about that of EV-only range, which it did quite well. And also, remember the Mitsubishi i-MiEV? I do, I got one, it's up there. Drove it today in town, still drive it every day. Perfect little machine. But Mitsubishi, though, blaming the government for why they won't bring out EVs. It's all the gaslighting, or the coal gaslighting, I guess you could say, and the finger pointing. So Mitsubishi's boss, Mr. Sean Westcott, says they could sell more EVs here only if we had decent charging infrastructure. No, it's more like only if you actually sold EVs here, you might sell them. But he's not wrong though. Mitsubishi has sold exactly one EV here, the i-MiEV, up there. Between 2010 and 2012. Yes, ours is one of the first 2010 models. Built in 2009, believe it or not, according to the plate. But yeah, looks like a half-roasted marshmallow. Drives like it. And I should know. Drive it all the time. Since then, they've been all in on the plug-in hybrids and claiming the future mobility is a petrol engine with commitment issues, which is a bummer. So, the coal conundrum is the reason why they won't bring out EVs into Australia. Because even if you have an EV, you're charging it from coal. Well, not exactly. Australia's grid now makes up on average around about 50% renewable energy, so you're not all coal. And even if you do burn it on coal, it's still cleaner than burning a petrol engine on historical dead creatures. So to claim his words, you've just moved the pollution from the tailpipe to Lithgow, which, to be fair, is the most Lithgow thing I've ever heard. So he's got a point though. In some cases, zero tailpipe emissions doesn't always mean zero emissions. So, but even so, don't wait till 2036 to bring out the next EV, Mitsubishi. Come on, stop blaming us. Get selling EVs, or making for a start. So basically they're saying, apart from that being the coal, the issue is there just isn't enough chargers, and the gap between the chargers. The gap between the chargers is not a problem if you actually have a decent range EV, as Tesla has, and many other Chinese manufacturers out here do as well. So that's not an excuse anymore. So they're saying it's the gap between the chargers and energy source. The translation is, we need billions in grid upgrades and we're not seeing the plans. The reality is, other manufacturers just simply don't see the problem and are selling EVs. Even with that, it could be vastly expanded charger network. None have blamed the gap between chargers or the electricity source for not selling EVs here, Mitsubishi. Just you. So yeah, get the making EVs first, get them here. So basically, Mitsubishi's pushing PHEVs hard and says most Australian drivers drive under 30 k's a day. Yeah, that's true. And the PHEV will cover that, which again is true. And yes, I had the Outlander, sold it with full EV. He's also claiming the government's fault again on the FBT exemption for PHEVs as a major mistake, which isn't the Mitsubishi speak for, yeah, we were sort of really counting on that, but oh well. So there you have it. Mitsubishi says it's not the cars, it's the country. The EVs are coming, just not Mitsubishi ones. And while Mitsubishi's gaslighting us and throwing tantrums, South Australia has basically said, yeah, hold my wine. Because South Australia now claims to have the first statewide EV charging network in the country. Well, we'll be the judge of that. So the Royal Automobile Association of Australia, the RAA, has officially completed a network of 144 fast charging stations across the state, which is great. 98% within 200 kilometres of each other, which is good. You can now drive from Yalata to Mount Gambier without sacrificing anything to the charger anxiety gods. Remember, it's not range anxiety. It's usually charger anxiety these days. Range anxiety is not a thing, as every EV owner knows. It's a thing that non-EV owners have, but it's not. It's actually charger anxiety. So it's not technically border to border. There's still a few gaps in the western and northern halves of the state, which is, but hey, that's the domain of the anti-EV commuter going to work with their 5 trailers, 6 boats, 34-tonne towing capacity, and their 6,000 litre bladders. The network consists of 550 plugs, more than 100,000 charging sessions so far, and 13 million kilometres of EVs travelled in South Australia alone, which is really good. It's equivalent to 47,000 Tesla Model Ys worth of energy, or roughly 1 kilometre of Parramatta Road at peak hour traffic, and an estimated CO2 reduction of about 830 tonnes. So get that good guilt-free trip to the Barossa happening and get some decent wine. I was going to go walk to the back of the Black Stump for the rest of the video, but even though I'm wearing a shirt, there's a bit of a breeze, and it does, the wind chill factor does make it a little bit cool. Not cold, just cool, remember. I can handle this, I got this. I'm a local now. So we're on the fence. But what's it like actually out there on the road though? Because we've got first-hand accounts. Myself, I've driven the Tesla from Sydney to Perth before the network was built across South Australia, and most West Australian haven't been built either. It was fun, it was an adventure, and that's why we did it. But what's it like out there first-hand in all the states? Well, the backstory. When you did the first trip, we did it mostly AC charging, staying at motels, and obviously the famous chip fat charger at Kaguna Roadhouse. That was pretty much it. The last DC fast charger was at Broken Hill. The next one was 200 k's out of Perth. So all that distance with no DC fast charging, but now you can quite easily do that. So, West Australia though, it's going to be the gold standard. It's well designed, it's plug-in, swipe, charge, with credit card support, pay pass. Yes, that is brilliant. Longer cables, trailer-friendly bays, tick, tick, and tick. Only half a point off a broken RFID reader at Norseman. Apparently still works via the app. Even the biofuel chargers running used cooking oil were reliable. We used one. It was actually out of service on the going westbound, but it was working coming eastbound. But also, much of the disappointment of many diesel drivers looking for TikTok clout, filming EVs charging on so-called diesel and claiming EVs are a load of crap because they're not as clean, even though you're burning less chip fat oil than they were burning diesel to go the same distance in an EV. So But the off-grid struggle out there, that part of regional Australia it is well. Yeah, off-grid, very off-grid. So between Norseman and the South Australia border, things get trickier. They have DC fast chargers, though some chargers struggle with generator power, which causes reliability issues. It causes voltage fluctuations and voltage drops. Because when we're at Nullarbor Roadhouse, the charge would vary between 8 kilowatt charge rates and 11 kilowatt charge rates, because it was just a 3-phase plug plugged in the back of a generator while they're running their motel in the Roadhouse. And as the big dryers kicked on to dry the washing for the Roadhouse, the accommodation, the generator would obviously load up and the charge rate in the car would drop. But also out there you have no phone reception, which is why we had Starlink. So we could call ahead with Starlink Wi-Fi calling. But out there, no phone service means some of those chargers will not have any connections and will be very difficult to start, which is a bugger. So South Australia are pretty late to the start, but they nailed it though. They get the perfect score. Good layout, long cables, easy activation, BYO cables on the AC chargers at accommodation spots. And a reminder that engaging with the EV community might actually work for solving out EV charging issues, which is good. Now, the New South Wales part. That was a mixed bag. That was NRMA older chargers. Remember the tritium? Yeah. The new super fast chargers at Euston, not so much. No RFID card reader, app-only activation, and the app is widely considered to be pretty crap, to be honest. Takes a bit to figure it out. It can be used, it does work. It's just a bit of a pain in the butt to actually sort it all out. So, what is the takeaway for this? Well, we've come a long way in the 3 years, that's for sure. Not there yet. WA and South Australia are setting up the standard, surprisingly, believe it or not, even though coming late to the party compared to New South Wales and Victoria. But they're doing it, and it's good, and it's a system that works, which is great. So, if we're going to build a national charging network, let's not reinvent the wheel, or worse, square it. It is Australia after all. Everything has unique conditions that the solutions investment world don't seem to work in, and therefore we always tend to end up with a worse situation than most places in the world, which is it's the Australian way. So, but what we need to do though, people that design these systems, the people that install them and everything else, have to listen to EV users or get an EV themselves and learn experience firsthand and start with what's needed that way. So, that being said, shout out to the RSL Motel in Wagga. Free 11 kilowatt charging for guests, undercover parking. Bring your own cable, of course, but yeah, that's how you win repeat business. So that's the news for today, for last week, this week. And I'm currently being swarmed by little bugs because it's getting that time in the afternoon. The sun is setting and the place is looking beautiful as always. Black Stumpy's somewhere over there. There it is. All my kangaroo hordes are in the back here. They're going to start coming across shortly with the sun setting, and hopefully these bugs will go away. So, that's it. Back from Cloudbase. Thank you for watching. I hope you appreciate it. I definitely appreciate you watching. So, thank you for that. And all the usual for the algorithm, unfortunately, to like, comment, subscribe. That would be great. And you too. And I'll see you all in the next video. And take care of yourselves. Till then, bye.